Welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I want to talk about how to be an expert, if there is such a thing. But how do you be an expert, or how do you begin to feel like you are an expert? And in fact, at what point do you begin to give yourself permission to launch your business, launch your offer, even charge premium and all of that good stuff? I want to give you a benchmark of some of the things to follow in order to be able to do that effectively. If it is your first time on my channel, I'm Pam Obasa and I'm the founder of a brand called The Lucrative Lady. And on this channel on YouTube, I talk all things social media, sales and sales systems. In fact, on this channel, I plan to help you to grow your business, to make it really lucrative and to make even more money online. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, then hit the subscribe button and stick around. But first, I want to talk about being an expert. One of the first books that I read on this topic of being an expert is actually called Expert Secrets. And I remember a line that I always say to myself, and I read it a certain way when I read the book, and I always repeat it in my head in that specific way. And that line says, you are an expert, right? And so you have this whole book that is written to really show you what an expert you already are. And the crazy thing is that I find that when a lot of people are, starting their business online or getting into coaching or just getting into anything, they get, their growth is stunted and they really struggle with executing, with launching, and with doing anything simply because they don't feel like an expert. And in fact, when I run my intensives, I have a wonderful intensive that we run that really shows people how to do the necessary things, i.e. find your audience, get niched in, find where they hang out and enroll clients and all of that good stuff. One of the biggest things, again, one of the biggest roadblocks that I have to get through is people, or rather, my ideal clients understanding what their level of expertise is and how to walk in that. Now, the problem is that when you don't feel like an expert, you feel the opposite, and that is an imposter, right? So there's expert and there's imposter. So that's where that word imposter syndrome comes in, because you don't feel like an expert, so you don't feel worthy. And so therefore, it's going to really affect how you think and how you do things. So I want to share with you nine different things that I want you to think about when it comes to being an expert. When it comes to being an expert, you've got to master your mindset about how you feel about going into the world. So if you're starting a business, for example, one of the things you're looking at is who is there, who else is there, right? Who was there before you? And so you're probably, if you're in coaching, for example, you're probably seeing all of these other coaches and everybody seems to sneeze and seven figures falls out, and it can feel intimidating. But one of the things that you have to realize is that everybody who feels like they're at step 10, they were once at step 0, right? They started from where you are right now. Everybody starts at step 0, everybody. There is ground zero, and that is the beginning where everybody began. And so you've got to really master your mindset about what being an expert means, and about the fact that you've got to allow yourself in your mindset to grow. You see, you cannot get into your market and feel like you have arrived, or feel like you want to feel like you have arrived. You want to be noticed. No, because everybody's starting at 0, you still have to take the steps to be noticed. You still have to take the steps to niche in. You still have to take the steps that are from 0 to step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 up to 10. You still have to do all of those things. And so because of that, you are not an expert yet, but that doesn't stop you from taking a step. So you've got to master your mindset and be able to say to yourself, yes, I don't feel like an expert. And in fact, I'm not an expert in this specific topic, but that's not going to stop me from moving forward, because I'm an expert at something in a specific medium, something small, and you can begin to operate as an expert in that small slice of expertise, right? Not the whole 9 yards. And then you can move forward. The second point that I want to share when it comes to feeling like an expert is that you've got to first acknowledge your results. I can promise you that for whatever it is that you want to do, if you're trying to create a business around any type of topic, chances are that you have some level of results in that field. You have to understand that no matter what level of results or experience you have in that field, there is somebody out there looking for somebody just like you and willing to pay you. And in their eyes, you're an expert. So that very thing that you are looking down on, or that you don't think it means anything, or you don't think anybody needs it, that very thing, there is somebody out there are people out there who are looking for that very thing and are ready to pay for it. So you've got to first acknowledge your results, acknowledge your experience, your wealth of experience, acknowledge your upbringing, acknowledge the things that you have been through, the things that you have gotten through. Acknowledge all of those things, because if you have been through some sort of hardship in your life at some point, then believe you me, there is somebody who is going through that and they are looking for just you. Acknowledge your experiences. Acknowledge your qualifications. Did you train in a specific area? You might not feel like an expert, but believe you me, you are millions of miles ahead of somebody who has zero idea and who hasn't even done the training. So begin by accomplishing it. And right now I want to give you a piece of homework to do when you finish watching this video, and that is to make a list of the various things that you have accomplished, or the various areas where you have succeeded, or where you have seen a level of result in your life or in your business, in fact your entire life. If you make that list, I want you to write a minimum of 20 different things on that list. And I know 20 sounds like a lot, but I can promise you that by the time you get to the bottom of that list, to that 20, you start to understand that no, actually I have a lot to offer in my industry, in this space, because I am an expert at something. Number 3, be honest and have integrity when you put yourself out there. Depending on where you're starting, most people want to teach steps 1 to 10. They want to teach the whole 9 yards of how to achieve something. But the truth of the matter is that in order for you to actually help people, you only need to know the first 1 or 2 steps. You don't even need to know step 3, 4, 5, 6 and the rest. You don't need all of that. You need the first couple of steps, and that's all you need, because you're teaching the person who's at step 0, and they only need steps 1 and 2, because if you knew the whole 9 yards and you try to teach it to them, it'll be overwhelming to them. So be honest and have integrity. When you get out there, tell people at what level you're going to teach them. So I give you a typical example. When I first started out in the online space, because I'm a trained actress, I came with bags of training for how to show up in front of the camera, how to use storytelling to sell, and all of these things. That was what I taught. That was my steps 1 and 2. I wasn't trying to teach people how to create their webinar, or how to create a sales system, or how to hold a sales conversation. And even though I knew that they needed those things, I pretty much operated in my own box, in my own niche, in the area that I felt most comfortable with and that I could put my hand up and stand by, because I genuinely knew about that thing. I knew my steps 1 and 2, and that had to be okay. And guess what? People still paid me. Did they pay me millions? No, they didn't. Because in order for them to pay me more, I then needed to increase my steps. So at that point, I knew steps 1 and 2, or let's call it steps 1, 2, 3. And so I taught steps 1, 2, 3. But whilst I was teaching steps 1, 2, 3, I was also developing myself in steps 4, 5, and 6, so that one day I could then teach steps 4, 5, and 6. And whilst teaching steps 4, 5, and 6, I would then develop myself into steps 7, 8, 9, and 10. Do you see my point, right? So you master one small area, and you start teaching it. But have integrity. Let people know. Don't promise them the whole 9 yards. Don't promise them that you're going to make them a millionaire, or that you're going to solve world hunger, or that you're going to do this big thing in their life, when you know that your current level of expertise for where you are right now just cannot do that. Number 4, only take clients that you can actually help. One of the things that goes wrong, or rather why a lot of people have imposter syndrome, is because they're actually trying to reach out for, a lot of clients, right? They want to be booked out. And so because of that, they have no filter. There's no limit to who they want. No, don't do that if you're first starting out, because that is a recipe for failure. Only take on people who you are absolutely confident that you can help, because again, it goes back to having integrity. And if it is somebody who you can help, guess what? You will be able to help them. And guess what then happens? You're going to build your confidence, and your level of expertise will shoot up, because you have been able to successfully help them. So be careful who you take on. If it means taking on just 1 or 2 people as you are first starting out, then do that. In fact, inside of my mastermind, lucrative sales system mastermind, when people first get started, I tell them immediately, you're only taking your first 6 clients, and you're going to do a very short session with them. I teach them how to create a specific type of offer that's easy to sell and easy to execute, because I'm trying to build their confidence and their level of expertise before they go to creating a big program and putting on a high ticket price tag on it. Number 5, when you do take on clients, don't feel like you are responsible for them. No. Yes, I know a lot of you be like, oh, Pam, are you saying I have no responsibility over them? No, of course you do. But you've got to also realize that they, your client, they have a level of responsibility as well. I remember when I first started working with clients, I honestly was so stressed about their results and their success, because I wanted them to do so well. And in fact, sometimes it felt like I wanted them to do well more than they wanted to do well themselves. But the problem is that As I started to teach in groups, I realized that you could give the same group of people the same information, the same tools, the same level of support, and guess what? They would all come out with different results. Yes, you had a handful of people who would do extremely well, but then you had another group of people who might not. Why? Because we all take time to receive information, execute information, process information, and all of that stuff. And so the moment I let go of the fact that, no, actually, it's not my responsibility to get anybody results, I couldn't guarantee results anyway because I don't know what their level, what their ethics are. I don't know what your ethics are. I don't know what your ethics are. I don't know, what you stand for. I don't know how quickly you're able to implement. I don't know a lot about anybody who I'm working with. And so because of that, I can only be responsible for what I will deliver. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And so the moment I let go of the fact that I have to be responsible, and believe you me, I work with a lot of clients, but the moment I let go of that, the moment I actually saw them picking up that responsibility and understanding that their success is in their hands. I can only give you the tools, but you've got to actually use it. Number 6, start sharing tips online. A lot of the things that you probably think are common sense, that you think everybody knows this stuff, trust me, they don't. And in fact, this is one of the areas that really started the growth of my business because I really struggled to niche in because I just kept thinking, well, they all know this stuff. But the truth of the matter is that they don't. In fact, anything that you think everybody knows this stuff, that's the very thing that you should take action on. I can promise you, if you follow that one advice, you will do very well because you'll attract people far quicker. Number 7, niche down. You've got to specialize. The more specialized you are, the less competition you will have. That's essentially what niching down is. And inside of my intensive, that's one of the main things that we work on. What you want to focus on is you want to be the big fish in a small pond as opposed to being the small tiny fish in a big pond where you get lost and nobody knows who you are. You want to be the big fish in a very, very small area, in a specialist area, so that you become known for that one thing. You become specific, you become known. And this cuts across, what you do on your social media channels, what kind of emails you send out, what kind of promotions you run and offers you create. You want to be known for something. So that's one of the ways to get rid of imposter syndrome, because if you're specialize, you get known even quicker and you become recognized as the expert far sooner than if you didn't specialize. Number 8, speak to a specific audience. You've got to know who your ideal clients are and who you are talking to, because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So one of the quickest ways of being seen as the expert is just to be clear of who you're talking to. So I give you a typical example. I remember when I first started, I used to use phrases like, if you're a coach, a consultant, a freelancer, a course creator, then this is for you. But the truth of the matter is it cannot be for them, because a course creator is different from a freelancer and a freelancer is different from a coach. So when you try to put all of your eggs in one basket, it just doesn't work. You've got to be clear who your ideal client is. And on that note, when it comes to being clear on who your ideal client is, I actually have an incredible resource to help you to really dial in on this. It is on the screen right now. The link will be posted below this video. Make sure you grab that and use that. It'll really help you to dial in on who your ideal clients are, where they are hanging out, and everything you need to be seen as the expert in their eyes. And finally, work on yourself. Never stop working on yourself. Work on your mindset, but also work on the area of expertise that you plan to sell, because guess what? You are your very biggest case study. When my business started to do well, and I mean really do well, it was because I created a case study about my own success. The case study was all about how I generated $65,000 in a 35-day period. So when I created that case study, even though it was about myself, that was when it really dawned on me that I was my own biggest success story at that point. It was through that case study that people started to trust me, and then I had a ton of other case studies of helping other people make even more money than I was making for myself. But understand that until you have a wide, a huge audience, and you have this platform and you are widely recognized, you are your own biggest case study. So work on yourself and use your stories, your own case studies, to get yourself out there. So if you like this, show me that you liked it by subscribing to this channel, and of course turn on that notification bell. because in my next video, I'm going to be teaching you how to handle one of the most frequent objections that you're ever going to hear in your business. I can almost guarantee you that you have already heard this objection, or you will be hearing this objection. So in that video, I'm going to be sharing that with you. In the meantime, before that video is actually released, I want you to check out these videos over here and below here, where I'm going to be teaching you all sorts when it comes to growing your business online. Make sure you do. I want to hear from you also in the comments. What is one advice you would give to somebody who has imposter syndrome or who doesn't feel like an expert? Help me out in the comments so we can help a lot more people. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. See you there.